So if you follow the channel, you know that I went ahead and purchased the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, and I don't regret my purchase whatsoever. I love this particular cell phone, and I've used it in every single video I've produced since acquiring it because the camera capabilities are what caused me to buy it in the first place and are exceptional for a cell phone. But I didn't just buy the cell phone. I also bought the Xiaomi 15 Ultra photography kit. And if you were to ask me straight up, is this a necessary addition to really get the most out of your Xiaomi 15 Ultra? I'd have to say no, it's not. You don't absolutely need this. The capabilities of the phone without it are sufficient. But that being said, am I glad I got it? 100% yes. I absolutely love using it. And that's because for my particular uses, it lends the question as to whether or not the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is a cell phone or is it just a really fancy high-tech camera? Now, of course, the truth is it lands somewhere in the middle, but this particular kit gives me the ability to do certain things to a higher level of precision than I would without it. And that's because of some of the pictures I take, and I'll go over that in this particular video. So let's get into it, the Xiaomi 15 Ultra photography kit. So let's begin with what the Xiaomi 15 Ultra photography kit actually includes. This is a Legend Edition. It's just a colorway. It's this red and black colorway that makes it look fantastic, to be honest. And it does include one of the most important aspects of this particular photography kit is this ring here. This is a 67mm lens adapter. It allows you to use those specialty lenses you'd normally use on a traditional camera in order to get those funky effects, whether it be really deep colors by using an ND filter or allowing you to do long exposure photography so you can get that sort of surreal looking water movement and the like over waterfalls and that sort of thing. It also lets you use like CPL filters, circular polarizers, so you can shoot through glass without getting nasty reflections, and any other filter you prefer to use. So this is a big addition. This is a really big addition to the possibilities of what you can shoot with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. If you're not using that adapter ring, you do have a couple of different cover rings that protect the threads, and I'll show you what actually goes on your cell phone. Now it comes with a case, always a bonus. I never use a cell phone without a case. So I'm just going to snap this into place. All right. There we go, hooked up. Right now I've got that black protective ring on it, but it's very simple to just, a little button here, allows you to unscrew it. Switch it to the red for a second. It's got a little dot on it that allows you to line it up and click it in quite easily. All right, so this is the way you'll probably see it in most advertising because it just stands out. And that protects the threads when you're not using the filter adapter. But let's say you want to go out on a really bright sunny day. You could use this adapter ring with an ND filter so that you don't have to take super fast photos. Where's my dot? There we are. Again, a dot on it to make it easy. Now the adapter ring's on. And then I can use a kit like the one I've got here from K&F. K&F Concepts do great filters. I'll just pull one out. It gives you the ability to use any of those filters. Now you're not done there. It also has these little button attachments that actually screw into the grip I'm about to show you, so you actually have that sort of tactile feel of a camera button. I don't use them. Not something I find necessary. The button that's here is good enough for me. This grip just slides on. It clips on. And as soon as you connect it, it initiates the camera mode. And you have a number of different settings you can go with depending on what your camera style is, but the default's fine for me. So now you have what looks more like a point and shoot camera. I mean, really, that's what it looks like. It has this little thumb grip. I've already got it attached because I like to be able to use the thumb grip. It makes it very easy to hold this one-handed. And when you're taking some of the kind of pictures that I take on a regular basis, like my wrist shot of my watch, this makes total sense. It's also got a little locking button on the side here to prevent it from sliding off. So once you've clipped that over, the grip's not going to slide off the phone. It's not going to allow it to slide out if you're holding it at a weird angle, doing a shot like this. It's pretty solid, honestly, without it being locked, but it's nice to have that extra bit of peace of mind that comes with a locking mechanism. But essentially what you've got now is you've got a point and shoot camera with an exposure control and a touch zoom that can also flip through the different lenses that are available on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. And then you have a dedicated button to start a actual video recording or a shutter button to take a picture. So this makes it so easy to use and so versatile because of the convenience of the little thumb pad allowing you to use it one-handed, and the addition of this lens adapter ring to allow you to use multiple different types of filter lenses in order to get that exact shot that you want. But for most people, this is overkill. It really is. It's unnecessary. But for me, when I'm taking close-up shots, macro shots, and different lighting situations, it's really nice to have that immediate exposure control. It's not like it's not something you can do from the screen. You can. It just makes it a two-handed operation versus a one. It's nice for me to be able to take a wrist shot like this, and if I think it's a little too bright, to just do small touches of the exposure control until I get the actual level of contrast I'm after. Instead of doing this and being, oh, that's a little too bright, then coming back here, making an adjustment, checking it again, no, I went too far, going back, it just makes it that much quicker. And when you're on the go and you're constantly shooting for social media or YouTube and the like, you don't want to waste time, especially when we're on vacation and we're not just there to shoot videos, we're there to enjoy ourselves. The less time it takes to get the shot I want, the more time I get to spend just enjoying the place I'm in. So this has become a really valuable addition for me, but I think for the majority of people, it won't make that much of a difference, and maybe your money's better spent elsewhere. But I'm going to show you how I use it on the go. So stay tuned, because you're going to see me kind of like at work with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and the photography kit. So here's something that can be accomplished just using something as simple as exposure control. And it sounds simple, but when using a cell phone that doesn't have a button or dial that's got direct access to it, it becomes a pain in the ass to have to go into the settings and change it and then check and then change it and then check. So here I've taken two shots, one with the exposure set to default, set to just plain zero, not plus or minus anything. And then the other one, in the first case, I'm gonna add some additional exposure, so I'm gonna give it a plus value. And in the second video, I take some away, I give it a negative value, but both of them achieve something superior to the original shot. And the first picture here with Noble sitting on the couch, the first shot set to just base level, everything sort of blends together and there's not much detail. It's a little too dark in the room, so this is what you get. And then the second shot where I added the additional exposure control, it highlights everything on Noble and makes him sort of pop in the image. Now, I prefer to take away exposure when possible, so here's the next shot. I just took a simple shot of the top of the credenza in my living room. It's got the old looking clock, it's got a watch in my watch winder, and it's got the PS4 sitting there. And in the first shot, you see it all. They're all sort of equally important. They all share space in the image. But in the second shot, it really draws your eyes in to the watch and the watch winder, because taking away that additional exposure darkens all of those sort of dark features. So the PlayStation almost disappears. The old clock with that dark wood, it starts to sort of disappear in the image. They're still there, but your eyes are really drawn to focus to the center of the image where the watch is sitting in the watch winder, because it's got that white background and that shiny stainless steel. And that's the image that's more dramatic and draws you in. And this is just simple changes of the exposure, something that's very easy to do when you're using the Xiaomi 15 Ultra photography kit. But what about video? Let's get into that. So I went ahead and lowered the exposure during filming to minus 0.7. And what that's done is it's made this particular scene a little darker, and I've also moved the key light a little closer to me so that it highlights this side of my face a little more and just creates a more cinematic view, right? I find this kind of look to be more appealing. Not everyone does. If you do, let me know in the comments. If more of you do than don't, then 100% I'll do more of our videos this way. But for a lot of like product videos, maybe this isn't the view you want because you're trying to show as much detail as possible. But when it's just a talking head like this and I'm giving you some information, it's a little easier to take when the lighting is less harsh, and this is kind of what a lower exposure gives you. The other thing about filming with a slightly lower exposure is that it's easier to add brightness in post than it is to take away brightness. Overexposed images are hard to save, right? They're hard to bring back to life, so to speak, whereas in underexposed images, it's not so difficult. It becomes a much easier prospect when you're figuring things out and editing later. So I would suggest, not just for a high-end cell phone camera like you get on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, but any cell phone camera or any camera that you're filming with, if you want to make your life a little bit easier in post, go into the settings and lower the exposure a little bit. It doesn't have to be minus 0.7. It could be as low as something as slight as minus 0.3, but it gives you that little bit of leeway, especially if you intend to be filming in just random conditions outdoors where it could be sunny, could be shady, all depends on where you're at. It can be an advantage to have that slightly lowered exposure most of the time. I don't have to worry about that because when I'm using the Xiaomi 15 Ultra photography kit, it's so easy for me to just use that dial to adjust the exposure to whatever the settings may be, so I can find the look I'm after when shooting, and it saves me so much time later in post. Now, for those of you that watched my review of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, you'll remember that I purchased this particular cell phone because of its camera capability, because I wanted something that was a lot easier to carry with me on vacation, to take high quality photos and video with. And carrying just this, right, a couple of filters and the Xiaomi 15 Ultra with the photography kit is a lot easier than carrying something like this. Right? My full mirrorless camera backpack with all the gear, because that's what's required to get the photos I want without this. But now that I have it, to be entirely honest with you, I can shoot practically 90% of what I could have shot with my mirrorless camera with just my cell phone. Just my cell phone with the photography kit attached. This is all that's required. And that 10% that I can't shoot, it's not that big a deal, to be honest, because most times I'm not going to have to shoot that 10%. There are very specific situations that require it. And rarely does any of it make it onto my social media channels or my YouTube channel that you're watching today. It just doesn't. And most of the time, I know if I'm going to have to shoot those kind of photos while on vacation, and if that's the case, I'll bring my camera with me and maybe the one lens that's required to do so. Because really there's only a couple of shots I can't take. Like, I have a very fast, low light lens, so if I want to shoot some, street photography or portrait photography at night, I could bring that. And then the other option is I want to shoot something that's a really long distance away, I have that super long zoom lens, goes to like 400 millimeters, that I could bring along for shots like that. But these are very, very rare situations for me. Again, 90% of what I take can be done with this. And far easier with this, right? There's no swapping in and out of lenses. There's no resetting up the camera and things like that. I don't have to carry multiple batteries because the battery life on my cell phone is significantly better than the battery life on my camera. And easier is the operative word here. It's the big difference. It's what makes this totally worthwhile to me. Because if it wasn't easy, I probably wouldn't do it. Trust me, I've got some gear that can improve certain things about shooting video or shooting particular portrait photography and the like. I have gear that I can use that can improve that I rarely use because it's just a pain in the ass to use it, right? It's not an easy process. There's a lot of setup involved, a lot of trial and error. But anyone, I mean anyone, even the most amateur photographer, after tinkering with this cell phone with the photography kit attached for about a week, will be able to take better photos than they were taking before without it. And that's what makes it important. That's what makes it worthwhile. That's why I have no problem suggesting it to the majority of you. At least the cell phone. Like I said, not everybody needs a photography kit, but if you're someone like me, you're shooting for a lot of different content creation in different areas and on the go, or if you're a avid traveler like Amy and I are, and you want to document as much in the way of things you've seen and places you've been with both photos and videos, it can really help to have the photography kit. For those kind of use cases, I'd say go ahead and make the additional purchase. But if that's not the case, you just want to snap the odd really nice photo, take the odd really nice video, then just investing in a cell phone with a very high-end array of cameras attached is worthwhile. It doesn't have to be the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Right? Huawei makes some fantastic camera-capable phones, the top iPhone, the top Google Pixel. These are very capable camera array cell phones that can give you great quality photos and videos as a result of using them. It just takes a little tinkering to get used to, but something like this is the next level up. And if, like me, you're producing content for an audience, it's nice to have the best. And it doesn't get much better. It really doesn't. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you on board to see more of our content, and we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. When we do, we're going to give away a watch, and we have both men's and women's models available, so no matter who wins, there's something appealing to all of you. We'd love to see you back. Till next time.